Welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade. So, I've been thinking, just in the meantime, that we had initially the choice between playing two different characters, and I think the second character is very likely Josiah Reynolds. Um, yeah, probably, right? His name is Reynolds. No, Reynard. Reynard, yeah, Reynard. So, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna go move the RV, or are we gonna go find him where we're actually supposed to meet with him? Hmm. I feel like probably it makes more sense to try to find him first. Like, if we lose our RV, yeah, it sucks, but I mean, we can find a new set of wheels, right? Like, we need our sire first. So let's go to Coney Island. You'd think the subway at 3 a.m. on Christmas night would be a tranquil haven, right? Nope. Think again. It's not exactly a morning rush, but there's still a bunch of people around, most of them zoned out, clearly buzzed from the booze, drugs, or just plain old tiredness. The blood slowly coursing through their veins, just beneath the surface of their skin, tempts me in ways I cannot describe. I force myself to look away, not for the dregs of my own mortality, nor because I feel any grand respect for them. It's simpler than that. Too many eyes, too much risk. My crew's unspoken credo. Here we are. Abraham's daughter. Mm-hmm. I get off at Coney Island, quickly heading back to the Wonder Wheel, scanning for Reynard's unmistakably flamboyant red overcoat he somehow manages to pull off. No such luck. But maybe he's back at our usual spot, or perhaps he swung by while I was out and left one of our wall signs. Instead, what greets me is an unsettling number of shady figures prowling around. Three to be exact, all on edge, looking like they're onto some sort of patrol. If they're kindred, they're probably Camarilla, considering this is their territory. It's not that I have an issue with that. Okay, I do, but let's not get into that right now. I'm just not up for socializing. One kindred run in per night is already pushing my limits. Yeah, so the Camarilla are one of the factions of the Squeaker. Rookie Huntress, loud, boisterous, and abrasive, she tries to make up for her lack of experience with her determination to follow orders, even if it means pulling herself out of danger. Oh, she's one of the hunters, so she's actually after us. I thought she was just a random person last episode. Interesting. So we're looking at the Coterie, that's our group of people, and the Camarilla, a highly organized and influential vampire sect devoted primarily to maintain the Masquerade, shielding their existence from the living, while enabling elder vampires to maintain control over mortal affairs. Yeah, the vampire mafia, so to speak. So, cloak of shadows, let's hide in plain sight, or silence of death, they won't hear me walking away. I think let's hide and let's observe the situation here. I let go of myself, the meat, veins, bones of my suit, the wind wrapping around me like the warm hug of a mother welcoming her child home, and I become one with the air. The curious glances of those passing by slip off me as if I were never there. I basically become invisible. As soon as they vanish into the night, I reappear in plain sight and quickly head towards the Wonder Wheel. Reynard isn't there to greet me, and a quick look around yields no wall signs either. I turn on my heel, disappointed, and I lock eyes with one of the prowlers I so skillfully dodged. Their gaze is steady, piercing, downright eerie. With no option left, I put on my best conwoman face and I give them a nonchalant nod before walking away with all the confidence I can muster. Big mistake, it turns out. The prowler launches forward, chasing after me as I break into a run. I've never been to this amusement park. I've been to this amusement park many times before, so I know it like the back of my head. I duck, I weave through the rides and booth, shaking off my pursuer with ease. I have to leave. Coney Island, maybe even New York. Just as D'Angelo warned, the city's become a no-go zone for kindred, or at least for me. I'm almost at the entrance to the subway when I notice her. Actually, scratch that. It's my skin that reacts first. Every hair standing on end as if electrocuted. An alarm blares in my head, screaming danger. Only then do I see her stepping smoothly out of the shadows. Gait relaxed and yet somehow predatory. Oh, enjoyed the ride, sugar? I have no idea who she is, and I'm normally spot on at identifying those who prefer me finally dead. It's handy in my line of business. Sorry, we're closed for the night. Guess Yelp didn't forgot to mention they don't serve the night owl crowd here. She doesn't even blink at my quip and just keeps inching closer. I feel an urge to step back, but a quick side eye informs me that the prowlers have returned and are standing right behind me. I'm afraid you're gonna have to come with me. Is visiting an amusement park illegal now? 'Cause it sure as hell isn't your turf. You're much too fancy for that, lady. Her smile stretches wider, but it's devoid of any real humor or warmth. She only steps away now, and I'm effectively trapped. Visiting amusement parks is not illegal, no. However, some of your extracurricular activities now, that's a different story. Somebody has been very naughty indeed. Extracurricular activities? You've lost me there. Oh, how she jests. I'm not going to run down the entire list of the council's accusations, but incidentally, that is where I'm taking you right now. Who the hell are you even? I am Valerie Duval, sugar, the Scourge of New York. You can quickly take a peek at that. So the Scourge, she is working for the Camarilla, an executor, subordinate directly to the sheriff, with a penchant for eliminating caitiffs and thin bloods. I hope I'm not either of them. The Primogene Council is made up of the representatives, typically from the major clans and key factions of the domain. Its members might include clan elders, those in control of the largest hunting grounds, or individuals who have curried favor with the prince. So the vampire ruler is called the prince. They communicate directly with the prince, offering their counsel. You can either accompany me without a fuss, or, well, let's just leave it at the first option. It's decidedly in your best interest. She gestures to one of the prowlers behind me, her henchman, I guess, who brandishes a hefty, sharpened stake. My throat tightens involuntarily. What the fuck does the council want with me? Our crew's business isn't all that against their precious traditions, is it? I'm not without reason, darling. Your move. So the traditions are the rules of the Camarilla to keep us secret. So the Masquerade, the domain, the progeny. The progeny is that the prince declares that you're allowed to embrace somebody else as a kindred. The accounting, that you're responsible for those who are embracing hospitality. I believe that's just that the rule of domains, I guess, as well. I'm not sure actually 100% what the difference is between domain and hospitality anymore. And destruction, that the prince has the say over who is to be killed. Yes. Your move. Oh, it's my move, ain't it? Because from my viewpoint, all roads seem to end at the tip of that stake. Said tip jabs painfully against my back, right where my heart would have been beating madly if it wasn't all shriveled up. Case in point. The council will undoubtedly release you, following a meticulous inquiry, of course. This is your final chance. Alright, Jesus, I'll fucking go with you. Valerie tosses me a so-called smile, the swords that could turn the sun into ice. Good girl, now come. The council is waiting. Judgment at the Elysium. Now I'm being slammed with some bullshit accusations and hauled to Elysium for interrogation. What the fuck? There's no way I'm playing along. Well, maybe I am, seeing as I'm about to get fang to fang with New York's Ivory Tower. So the Elysium is one of the meeting places for the kindred. The Ivory Tower is the synonym for the Camarilla here, because they're the elitist elders. I'm just a young kindred making her way. So this is their joint, the art hole. Seriously, could they have picked a more pretentious spot? The Ivory Tower. Splinter has wedged itself right in the middle of New York's swankiest row. Welcome to the still heart of the Camarillas. Intricate machinations. Here's where the local kindred clink their glasses, all the while plotting at each other's demise. Unless, of course, you're a pariah like me, an outcast from a wrong clan with a knack for stirring up trouble. In which case, you're screwed from the get-go. Honestly, I preferred not knowing how posh it is. Places like this don't exactly roll out of the red carpet for someone who deals with my kind of stuff, but since I've got no immediate escape plans, might as well play along. I'd happily shit on their principal, but gotta admit, it seems pretty low-key on the outside, not counting the two chuckling goons who clearly missed the memo on blending in with the crowd. And on that note, is there a giggly-worthy revelation you care to share with me, Birdie? Your demeanor hints at a job well done, doesn't it? The backward freeze frame those two are struck in would be comedy gold if it wasn't knee-deep in my own mess. Yeah, Miss Duwell, sir. I mean, not really anything too wild, you know? Just like the usual stuff we're seeing, I guess. Does this usual stuff include dubious characters with this miles reach of Elysium, groups for which you were specifically instructed to watch out for? 3 of them, to be exact, if my count holds true. 3 groups of what? Honestly, I didn't spot a thing. Then again, maybe I'm not just clued in on what they are looking out for. Let her cook. I mean, I apologize, but we really should have. Yes, you really should have. Boy, that shot through him like an icy bullet. I wasn't exactly cozy myself, but that poor sod probably just shed the last ounce of warmth left in him. Return to your duties at once. I'll be expecting a detailed report within the next hour. Yes, Miss Duval, sir. He waddles off like a scolded kid, and his pal refuses to meet our eyes. I throw Valerie a look of unwilling respect. She obviously holds some serious clout in these parts. Come on, dragging your feet earns you no favors, and believe me, you could use a few. Is that an offer, Miss Duval? Her smile serves as enough of a silent veto to make it clear that prying any further is futile. Not exactly a good sign. She swings the door open, but there's no warm invitation in the gesture. The place doesn't quite live up to the posh art gallery image in my mind. I'm sure there is a hint of what could be quaint on the walls, but most of the art is either shoveled aside or covered up. My instincts shift into overdrive. First up, a quick room survey. Escape routes. I mean, escaping is very unlikely, and I think I'm like more of the talking myself out of trouble kind of person. I'm a con artist, not an escape artist. So, access points. Take a good look around, just generally. I might try to focus on something else, but the real show stealer is this stupidly massive table, littered with papers on a map of 5 boroughs spotted with enigmatic markers and chess pieces. 2 particular areas are heavy with pins, though their meaning is lost on me from the distance. Okay, very interesting. So the chess pieces may be like the control of the city. Vintage trunks are thrown about without a second thought, but what really grabs the eye is a lineup of wickedly curved swords, sending a faint memory of a shiver up my spine. Taking it all in, this place screams less art gallery and more war room. Step 2. Practically unfold on its own. The room's a powder keg of kindred in the middle of an intense debate. The tension is palatable, suspicion dialed up to 11. That's when their voices finally break through the walls of my focus. Wouldn't have been such an issue if we had taken actions when the signs were so gloriously obvious. That long-haired hunk must be Kadir al-Asmai, the Camarilla sheriff. I've had my fill of stories about him, but now I can put a face to the reputation. If only the rest of us were blessed with your profound gift of foresight, Sheriff, life would be a walk in the park. Allow me to emphasize, our risks aren't limited to a single front. Acting on a gut feeling might work wonders in motion pictures. Here, in the real world, it is a different story. This one's a mystery to me, but the way he's navigating the conversation, he clearly a heavyweight in these parts. Spare me the pretense of ignorance, Arturo. The pattern was unmistakably well over a month ago. Now, Arturo. Thomas Arturo? Shit. Reynard explicitly told me to steer clear of this guy's mess. The bickering rages on, and Valerie doesn't seem eager to reveal her catch, aka yours truly. Your playful decision to allow the Thinbloods to appoint Larson as their primogen raises his final death to a level that can't be casually swept under the rug. Helene, Thinblood or not, it throws into question our grip on the situation. That gothed out Ally McBeal definitely ailing Sturmbridge, the Tremere regent. I've been curious if Reynard's operation extended into the local chantry, but he was, as always, tight-lipped about his private affairs. What would you have me do then? Unleash our dear sheriff without adequate reconnaissance, just in the name of haste? We can't overlook his excessive efficiency in the last skirmish, can we? Doesn't the prospect of a masquerade breach give you pause? Behold, the queen bee herself, Helene Penhart, the reigning prince of... sticks up the ass. I figured we're all fond of keeping things the way they are, but there's times to just sit back and think. And then there's times you gotta step up and do something bold. This feels like it's time to make a move. An anarch champion chaos, a revelation that somehow fails to astonish. Oh, esteemed Baron of the Bronx. An inner Baron inside Elysium. No, that's a plot twist. What's the deal here? As I continue to look around, another figure catches my eye. A young-looking woman entirely decked out in black, casually playing with a cigarette. She shoots me a brief glance, clearly picking up on my curiosity. That ancient fart in the wheelchair, whispering to his servant. Who is that? Right as he's about to chime in, some lanky guy I totally missed till now decides to butt in. My apologies for interrupting, Mr. Payne, but it appears Miss Duval has brought forth the issue you mentioned earlier. It might be wise to ensure she's not exposed to unnecessary information. How did I overlook this guy? He's all limbs and quirks. Playing with some odd ring on his finger, he sticks out in this upscale bunch like a sore thumb. Is my mojo on vacation or what? Yes, thanks, you, for that shrewd observation. Caitiff. She hurls those words like she's spitting venom. Whatever the opposition of sympathy is, she's brimming with it. Wait, caitiff? Esteemed counsel, I give you, the troublesome ravenous neonate. I gather you all desire a swift resolution to this matter, especially given her reluctance to cooperate. As if on cue, every eye shifts to me. I am not one to buckle under stage fright, but this silent ostracism is on a whole new level. In this room, I'm on my own. I understand the formal necessity of addressing all this, as well as my role in the matter. However, there are more pressing concerns demanding attention. Far more pressing. Shall we discard all traditions too while we're at it? You've pirouetted around the Hudson problem for more than a year, yet progress remains as stale as our debate. Certainly a few additional moments of honor, the very laws you spearhead so vigorously, couldn't hurt, could they? The Hudson is completely different, beast. As you're well aware, we need to address the locust swarm engulfing New York before Camaria's entire framework crumbles beneath its weight. And how does that sit with you, Payne? Just last night, 2 Duskburn and a fledgling from your clan were reduced to ashes, and we're still in the dark about who's pulling the strings. Shouldn't that worry you more than policing the purity of the red market? The old guy's servant steps forward, all awkward and rigid. In principle, I agree, Sheriff. However, should we continue to disregard even minor infractions, we broadcast a message of vulnerability. Vulnerability threatens our efforts. Within and beyond our borders, efforts we plan to carry on without interruption once the locust swarm, as you've termed it, is eradicated. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm inclined to agree with the Grams on this one. We can't simply let someone like this slip through our cracks without taking proper measures. So you're assuming the role of advocate now. Quite the bold ascent up the ladder of your own making, Julia. What's next on the horizon? Another hostile... Enough already. An awkward silence falls over the room, but it seems more about customs than actual respect. Guess we're all in the creatures of habit, undead or alive. The sheer theatrics of the situation give me a moment to speak. A glance at... who should I be more intrigued by? So, the prince certainly will be the most influential in deciding my fate, but I feel the sheriff could be also somebody who might take pity on our case, and maybe we can prove ourselves useful, and he might put a world in. That old guy, he's hard to predict. Let's go with the sheriff. The sheriff's avoiding eye contact with me, which you typically read as a weakness, but it's far from that. In fact, he's ice cold and focused. His gaze meeting mine might be the last thing I see before bidding farewell to my undead existence. But there's something deeper. He appears untamed, like a wolf in an ambush, perfectly still, yet poised to tear into anyone foolish enough to trigger his fury. When the prince finally manages to speak, her voice lacks the confidence you'd anticipate from someone at the helm. We're all here, and the same reason you are, Aisling. Or am I mistaken and you forgot where your loyalties lie? Even now, as she turns to me, her presence is weighted down. Not that I care, my head's on the chopping block, and she's the one calling the shots on whether it stays put or rolls off. Now let's put this issue to rest here now. Strive for brevity, Sheriff. Understood. The weight of his gaze is enough for me to lower my shoulders. Whatever comes, it's not gonna be pretty. Kali of Clan Refnas, you stand accused of violating the New York Camaria's praxis, infringing on the tradition of hospitality, and endangering the Masquerade, among other things. Let me figure out, firstly, the Baron, he's the Anarch leader of the domains. The Anarchs are the opposition to the Camarilla, really. The Chantry is the home of the Tremere. The Elysium I already explained. The Fledgling, it's young people under Shai's protection. Neonates are young kindred released. Prince is the head of the guys. The Regent is the head of the Tremere. The Sheriff here we're talking to. Hospitality, that's what we want to figure out. Honor one another's domain. When thou comest to a foreign city, thou shalt present thyself to the one who ruleth there. Without the word of acceptance, thou art nothing. So I did not introduce myself to the prince and ask to stay in her domain. That's what I'm accused of. Keeping tabs on who is within the city has become difficult in the modern age of refugees and global citizens. While some princes erect walls or attempt to control the borders through political means, others give up on enforcing this law. Apparently, they don't here in New York. Well, shit. Wait, on what grounds? Drop the act. There's a wealth of evidence in the recreational vehicle of yours, most of it confirming the suspicions we've had been harboring over the recent month. Petty theft from our subjects, impersonation of other kindred, lineage forgery. Need I go on? Okay, guilty. But when did they start caring? It's not like I'm the only one dipping my toes into the ocean of misdemeanors. At least they don't know about our artifact gig. But your involvement in large-scale blood and mortal trafficking outside our scrutiny and the jurisdiction of the circulatory system is as obvious as it is dangerous to the stability of our domain. Large-scale, my ass! We hardly move anything through New York, definitely not enough to impact their operation. Plus we're super careful. Especially with your clientele often being in direct hostility to our interest, as Primogen Payne was kind enough to confirm. Seriously, this can't be right. We always check out our clients. Well, Reynard does, but is this some twisted way to set an example? Are they playing the undead IRS? What is their game, really? While some might talk this up to colossal stupidity, I'm neither so forgiving nor tolerant of fraudsters who respect nothing but their own gain. I'm not blind to the fact that Reynard's completely MIA in this whole story. He's the big cheese, the head honcho of the entire affair, though calling it an affair might be giving it too much credit. So why are they making it out like I'm the mastermind behind some global crime syndicate? This is not the time to be quiet, Raven. It's a raven. That term, I don't know. I guess it's also about... I didn't add it yet. You know what? Fuck them. I'm not going down without a fight. Not my RV, obviously. I'm not your scapegoat. I'm merely the chauffeur. It's not my RV, obviously. This is total crap. I don't even own that RV. I snagged it on a rental from that Anar guy in the Bronx. Oh, you did, huh? What are the odds, right? See? Why don't you grill your Baron friend over there? Out of nowhere, something pierces my mind, shredding its defenses to dust. It's like my head's been turned inside out, exposing my every thought for their amusement. I whip my head towards the source of this eerie sensation and boom, there's Kadir, the freaking sheriff, with those piercing eyes slicing through my layers of bullshit like it's cake. I earnestly hope you're not taking me for a fool. That would be a misstep of monumental proportions, unlike anything these walls have witnessed. I get a glimpse of Ailing out of the corner of my eye, silently mouthing words that look suspiciously like, "I beg to differ." Right then, a curved sword appears in Kadir's hand, as though he's just pulled it straight from thin air. Or maybe I'm just going nuts. Honestly, I'm totally shitting my pants right now if part of me wasn't offline. "I'm not here for your games, little raven. Choose your next words carefully." I'd argue this utter lunacy clearly clears her of charges. She couldn't even cobble together a feeble story, much less orchestrate clandestine trading of this magnitude, and yarn spinning is supposed to be your clan's forte, isn't it? "Last chance, my dear. Is there anything of substance you wish to add?" Holy shit, this can't really be happening, right? What's my move? What would Reynard do? Reynard, if he had the decency to pop up or at least toss me a fucking heads up, I wouldn't be knee deep into this disaster. Is he really in trouble, or what if he bailed on me? Got a hint the Camarilla was breaking down his neck and decided I'm the perfect scapegoat. Nah, that doesn't sound like him. But why target me and not Reynard? Sure, he's gone now, but could they really be that clueless about him? I'm totally lost, but I do know what I would probably do. His move would be to look out for number one. Spill the beans more than necessary to buy some time. Time is gold, and with enough of it, maybe there's a chance to wiggle out of this mess. It's all or nothing now. Hit the jackpot or end up a porcupine with steak. Guess there isn't much point in playing dumb, huh? Couldn't agree more. Game on. Alright then. So, I indeed am tangled up in this little blood trafficking operation. Playing a pretty crucial part, if I do say so myself, though I guess not everyone's on board with that assessment. I do the logistics, pushing the merchandise through a series of dark web channels. Every eyebrow in the room goes up, except for the cigarette aficionado in the back, who lets out a slight smirk. I mean, a little controlled drama never hurts in the short con. All totally secure and anonymous. No slips about, our thing. Everything's masked by the hustle of a more mundane black market. No way we're blowing the Masquerade. We deal in stored blood, as you might have caught on. Not just any blood, though. Our merch is a little jazzed up. Thaumaturgically enhanced, to be exact. It's the only way they'd work, as you are well aware. I am, but that's not for you to find out. Right, of course. And we deal in, let's just call them family treasures. But honestly, that's more like a side gig than anything serious. But we are extremely careful about picking our clients and really thorough when it comes to making deals. The traditions and all. I was sure we'd never even come close to breaking them. At least that's what he led me to believe. I had a hunch. There were some dodgy dealings in his more secure ventures. To deny that would be a flat-out lie. But let's be real. I'm way outside the inner circle to have a real sway in those parts of his enterprise. For a brief moment, an uneasy silence sweeps over the room. His enterprise? Is this a joke? Exactly who is this he you're referring to? I give it all to appear as blameless as possible. I presumed you knew it was my sire who's masterminding it all. The room's heavy silence is soon filled with hushed whispers following my revelation. Good. If fortune is on my side, I might just live to see another moonrise. Indeed, how fortuitous. And your sire would be? There's only one other reasonable rogue in the city who comes to mind. Someone dipping in and out, known for their shifty nature, of which I was somewhat aware. Reynard Cassell. You nailed it, sir. Another brief moment of silence gets interrupted by the girl in black, who addresses the sheriff. I can practically hear the cogs turning into your head, Kadir. What's your take on it? Truth be told, it does add up, though I had him pegged more as a con artist than a trafficker. Then why hasn't he been apprehended yet, Sheriff? Are you secretly endorsing activities that impede the circulatory system's operations? For your own good, Payne. I'll pretend I didn't catch that. Or would you care to question my dedication to our cause again? Be warned, my patient wears extremely thin these nights. Can we put this bickering on hold, at least for a moment? An opportunity staring me in the face. How could I resist squeezing myself right into it? One more thing. Reynard and I had a meeting lined up with a client a few hours back, but he never showed up. In the whole year and a half I've been in this gig, he's never just vanished like this. And what do you make of it? Now, with the floodgates of truth wide open, it's time to dive into the art of lying my ass off. To be honest, I'm not sure. But now that I think of it, he's changed over the past month, become a lot more erratic than usual. Ready for my theory? I'm pretty sure he caught wind of your lot and decided to feed me to the flames while he made a run for it. Whether they're swallowing my story or they're just tired of my presence, it feels like I'm nudging things the way I want them. Not everyone's convinced, though. An unwitting pawn betrayed by her master. A likely story. Suitable for the stage indeed. But in this context. If I may. Damn it, Patrick. Don't go getting yourself into... Baron's warning arrives a bit late. Instantly the others shift their focus, fixing their eyes on the caitiff with unmistakable hostility. It's clear they're not exactly fond of him. Since you're already disturbing the proceedings, you might as well say your piece, mediator. Very well then. I'm inclined to believe her, at least in the aspects most significantly to the interests of our allies. Thanks, you mysterious weirdo. As ever, your assertion remains devoid of substance. My guy's advice is pretty much always on point. His track record speaks for itself. The sheriff has a point. That seems to hold water. Her sire might just be one at fault. She is essentially a non-entity, is she not? A nobody that slipped under the radar until by a stroke of sheer bad luck. She's got caught red-handed. Do excuse the pun. When you give it another look, the evidence you have collected should indeed back up the claim quite convincingly. And what grounds your intricate evaluations precisely? My judgment is shaped by your vast experience and simply tempered by reasoning and intuition. It changes little regarding the consequences she must face for her complicity in her sire's crimes. It's do or die. How about I serve you Reynard's head on a silver platter in exchange for mine, unscathed and on my shoulders? Kadir's stares pins me under silent disapproval, but he lets me, as the curly-haired asshole puts it, spin my yarn. I know all his secret spots, and in this town, plus the spots he wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, I'm wired into his network, his contacts. I've got his playbook down, and I can stay one step ahead of him with ease. Just give me a chance, and we all will be thanking our lucky stars by the end. They slip into a quiet introspective, or maybe they're just playing around mental chess, trying to reach into each other's mind without uttering a word. I have reservations about this star-daring proposition. Consider the potential fallout of this entire situation spirals out of control. Kadir throws up his hand, clearly over dealing with my case. Capturing this whelp proved hardly a challenge. I wouldn't sweat the idea of catching her again. What's more, entrusting her with Cassel resolves two issues at once. It it swiftly eliminates her presence and enables us to prioritize genuine concerns. But someone has to keep a constant watch over her. Valerie, perhaps one of yours. A batshit crazy idea burst into my head. The kind of a gamble that could either turn out brilliantly or spectacularly implode. Let the dice roll. How about him? I jabbed my finger towards the quiet caitiff. Patrick, was it? His expression shifts to one of the utter confusion as he catches the subtle smirks of the council members. Surely you're not considering... This could play out quite favorably, I must admit. Quite favorably indeed. Holy shit, it actually worked. Very well, Patrick Conroy. I hereby appoint you as the agent caretaker for this Ravnos unit. I hate to break it to you, Sheriff, but this calls on our turf. He's with us Anarchs, and you know it well enough. Technically, then he took on the whole peacemaker role for our cliques, and he acquired a level of neutrality, so yeah. Kadir redirects his gaze to the caitiff. Your responsibility is to ensure she fulfills the assignment with the 4 knights, starting now. Any slip-ups on her end will reflect on your record as well. Do we have an understanding? 4 knights, not a whole lot, but better than nothing. Patrick's resigned nod mirrors exactly how I feel. Now, back to where we were. Their sudden disinterest in me as a clear get out of here signal. Seems like I've managed to slide from one pit to another, but hey, I've brought myself a little time, and in my world, that's precious currency. Unless, of course, that caitiff turns out to be a wild card. We're gonna see whether he is next time. See you then.